From the Samson Production Studios in the heart of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's your News 13.
Brought to you by SSPTV and the Standard Speaker.
One man injured, another behind bars after an early morning fight in Hazleton. The early morning stabbing in Hazleton, our top story on News 13 for this Monday. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Christina Papa. Kathy Bazinski has off this week. A Hazleton man is in custody after police say he stabbed a man early this morning. Police say 23-year-old Jonathan Vasquez Liriano stabbed a man during a fight early Monday. The altercation happened on the 500 block of West Broad Street at 2 o'clock this morning. No word on what the fight was about. Police are charging Vasquez Liriano with aggravated assault, 2 counts, simple assault and reckless endangerment. He was taken to the Luzerne County Correctional Facility in Wilkes-Barre for arraignment this morning. Police in Minersville are charging a man with attempted homicide after they say he nearly stabbed a man to death. Matthew Petrillo tells us police are still looking for a second suspect involved in the accident.
No good deed seems to go unpunished. That's at least what happened to Ezekiel Savala Pantoa. He lent 24-year-old Warren Frey $20 last week. When Frey asked Pantoa for some money, Frey noticed he had a large wad of cash in his wallet. Frey also knew where Pantoa was sleeping that night, at 215 Laurel Street.
They knew he was staying there, knew which bedroom he was in, so they came back in order to rob him because they saw that he had this money in his possession.
So Frey and 2 other suspects broke into his room on the 3rd floor of the apartment building. A second male suspect was wearing a black ski mask, although police later identified him as Robert Franklin Willie III. Police say the 2 men threatened Pantoa at knife point to give him money, but Pantoa refused. And when he wouldn't give them the money, both men started stabbing him in the head, leaving him with heavy lacerations.
The victim was stabbed repeatedly. There was blood all over the bedroom.
Meanwhile, a 3rd suspect, Ashley Campiga, went through his pants lying on the floor to find $2,200. They stole the money and ran.
He then stumbled down the stairwell, so there was blood throughout the hallway.
Now, Frey has a past criminal history and is a multiple state offender. He was charged with theft in 2008, corruption of minors in 2011, and criminal impersonation in 2012. A magisterial district judge in Port Carbon sent him to Schuylkill County Prison in lieu of a $250,000 straight cash bail. He's being charged with attempt to commit criminal homicide and other related charges. Meanwhile, Pantoa is expected to make a full recovery.
It's actually amazing that he survived, and we're certainly thanking the Lord for that.
Police are still searching for Willie. If you have any information about his whereabouts, police ask you give them a call. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, Minersville.
A truck fire closed parts of I-80 eastbound lanes near Butler Township today. The front of the tractor trailer caught fire near Butler Township this afternoon. Multiple fire companies were dispatched to the fire. Crews had flames out by 2 o'clock, but traffic was closed on I-80 east between Interstate 81 and Route 309 exits until around 3 today. No word on the condition of the driver of the tractor trailer yet. The incident is being handled by state police at Hazleton. Still ahead on News 13, some lower nighttime temps in the forecast. We'll tell you how temperatures are changing in News 13 weather. But first, one local Ukrainian parish celebrates 8 decades of tradition. We'll show you how they celebrated over the weekend when News 13 continues. Well, they come together every year to celebrate their faith and tradition in a big way. This weekend, Stephanie Gorney took a trip to Minersville, where she got a taste of the Ukrainian culture.
It's a celebration of Ukrainian faith and culture, which is still thriving throughout our region. The Ukrainian Seminary Day has been going on for nearly 8 decades and is something that adults have been going to since they were children.
And so it's a beautiful tradition. It's been going on for 79 years. It's very family-oriented. I remember when I was a kid and we used to come to Ukrainian Day, it was always a big thing. My uncle had a parish in Philadelphia, so he'd bring 2 busloads of parishioners in. And we'd always have a great time dancing and just meeting up with family from all over the state. I've already met people here from Delaware, I've met people from Philadelphia, people from New York. So I mean, it really brings a lot of people together.
This is a special celebration because unlike parishes who host individual events, this festival is made up of 12 different parishes.
Our whole archieparchy, we have 6 deaneries, and this deanery is unique in that way, in that all the parishes come together to sponsor this, to support the seminary and the education of priests. All the other eparchies the deaneries, pardon me, the parishes themselves do functions on their own.
Along with learning about the different culture, there was also plenty of different ethnic foods to sample as well.
The food here is excellent. It's delicious. It's all homemade. There's nothing processed, nothing, store-bought. Everything from our cakes that we serve for dessert to our blini batter to the pierogies, everything is hand-pinched, handmade, hand-rolled.
Really good.
What are some things you've been eating?
Well, my dad makes the my dad helped fry the pierogies and stuff. And I ate some of them and they're awesome.
Children of all ages enjoy helping out with the annual tradition and learning about their Ukrainian heritage.
So everybody could have fun and see what different things and what we don't have different from Ukrainian Day. I'm celebrating Seminary Day with all my parishes and friends.
Even though this was a celebration of Ukrainian culture, different ethnicities from all over the Northeast came out to enjoy the festival. Stephanie Gorney, News 13, Minersville.
Well, it was a celebration of life on the home front during the years of World War II this past weekend. Eckley Miners Village hosted its annual 1940s weekend, and it was like taking a step back in time for all who came out. The theme was the World War II years, and just by taking a stroll down the streets of the village, visitors were able to experience the war front. There were various demonstrations as well as different 1940s military vehicles driving up and down the streets, along with different weaponry on display. Those who participated in the event were thrilled to be able to share their knowledge about this important era and show their various collections.
Well, I have brought out my victory pin collection, which victory pins were worn throughout the war and are really highly collectible. And I love to share my collection because otherwise it just sits with me and nobody appreciates it. So I brought it out today so everyone could enjoy it.
The keynote speaker for this year was Severin Fairman. He spoke on his time in the concentration camp and why we should never forget the past. Eckley Miners Village kept the celebration going on Saturday evening by hosting the second annual 1940s swing dance. All the fun was held at the pavilion at Freeland Public Park, and people from all over came to dance the night away. Those who came dressed in 1940s clothing were given a discounted ticket price, and everyone had fun showing off their different costumes and dance moves. The Hazleton Philharmonic Big Band Sound provided music for the evening, and the dance was such a hit that people can't wait for it to come around next year. And time now for our first look at regional weather for the National Weather Service. Checking the radar, actually pretty much nothing looking on right now, not even ground reflection from Binghamton. And beyond that, I guess it's just clear skies for today. Our creative condition, tonight's creative condition, Kevin Ramos, a student at Hazleton Elementary Middle School. He says the weather is sunny with fluffy clouds, and you can see folks out in the front lawn grilling up some burgers. It looks pretty good. Time now for a look at News 13 weather from the National Weather Service. First for Greater Hazleton, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 56. Tuesday, sunny with high near 75, mostly clear at night with a low around 56. And now heading to Schuylkill County, tonight mostly clear with a low around 54. For Tuesday, sunny with a high near 79 and partly cloudy at night with a low around 54. Let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. The daily number 236, Big 4 2444, Quinto 32250, and the treasure hunt 0, just 1, 11, 12, 16, and 20. Hope you guys won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. First tonight, the Beware of Barracuda Sprint Triathlon and Youth Triathlon will be held August 24th and 25th at Eagle Rock Resort. All proceeds benefit the Hazleton YMYWCA. For more info, check out hazyraceg.org or call 570-455-2046. And finally, Nesquet State Park will be holding an event, Y Walk Wednesday, Nature in Your Neighborhood, on Wednesday, August 21st. The walk will be held at the River Commons in Wilkes-Barre, displaying some of the plant and wildlife. For more information about this event, please call 570-403-2006. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Mark F. Brennan, Jr., formerly of Hazleton. Funeral is Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. from the McHugh Wilczek Funeral Home. Friends may call Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Elizabeth Betty Bittner, formerly of Hazleton. Funeral will be held Thursday at 8 p.m. from the Rosenstock Funeral Home. Friends McCall Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. June A. Stein of Drifton. Private service will be held at the convenience of the family from the Nolte Funeral Home. Dolores Lori Janoski, formerly of Hazleton. Service will be held Thursday at 1 p.m. in the Cavalry Cemetery. Claire J. Zahner of Black Creek Township. Funeral is Tuesday at 11 a.m. in the Mayo Funeral Home. Friends may call Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. David J. Hawk, formerly of Sugarloaf. Arrangements will be announced by the Harmon Funeral Home. And Thomas J. Ballas of Hazleton. Arrangements will be announced by the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. Tonight's obituaries have been brought to you by the Smilax Floral Shop located on 15th Street in Hazleton. For delivery to all local funeral homes, call 570-454-0111. And by Doves of White, serving Schuylkill and surrounding counties. Call 570-205-1597.
And a former Pennsylvania governor passed away over the weekend. William Warren Scranton died of a cerebral hemorrhage Sunday night at a retirement community in California. The former governor, also a presidential candidate and ambassador to the United Nations, worked as a progressive Republican in the city named after his family. Scranton was elected to Congress in 1960 and served one term before he was elected as governor in 1962. He became a popular governor who took advantage of a strong economy to reform the Pennsylvania civil service. He's survived by his wife, Mary, and 4 children. Scranton was 96.
SSPTV Sports on News 13 with Fred Barletta Jr. and Ron Marchetti.
All the farmers and the backyard enthusiasts very happy that we got some rain, much needed rain, but down at Mountain Speedway over the weekend it caused a little bit of a havoc, but hey, what are you going to do? But they did get some stuff in, and we could tell you, following qualifying heat Saturday evening at Mountain Speedway, track officials were forced to postpone the main events because of rain. That, however, didn't discourage several 4-cylinder drivers as they wanted to put on a show for the fans, regardless of the rain. In a close race to the finish, Harry O'Neill of Mountaintop held off Scott Adams to score the Mother Nature's 15 exhibition victory. Nothing much else going on down Mountain Speedway because of the inclement weather. Several makeup dates were announced for the feature events that were rained out. The makeup for the factory stock and 4-cylinder feature is now slated for this Saturday, August the 3rd. The street stock makeup is scheduled for Saturday, August 10th, and the modified feature will take place in about a month, Saturday, August the 24th, and that's how they're going to handle it after all of the rain. Let's go to the International League, where Russ Kanzler, 0 for 3 yesterday. His Indianapolis team loses to Syracuse. If you missed it, Kanzler had a decent game on Saturday, 2 for 4, knocked in a run, and they will finish that series tonight. Meanwhile, the Rail Riders, they were 9-2 winners over Louisville as Randy Ruiz went yard and knocked in 3 runs. And the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, upended by Pawtucket, 2-0, the final there. There is your schedule of games tonight. All of those series continue now. What does it all mean? As you could see, Pawtucket and the Rochester Red Wings are basically in a dead heat tie, and you could see what happened now. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs have fallen off the pace after catching up to them. Matter of fact, the Rail Riders have overtaken them. They're now dead even with a 500 record, 54-54. They're 4 games out, so still anybody's game there, I guess with the exception of the Syracuse Chiefs in that North Division. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Pirate AAA team that Russ Kanzler plays for Indianapolis, they're sitting pretty. Right now, they're sporting the best record in the International League, and they have a 10-game lead over the Louisville Bats. Of course, no one else but Indianapolis is playing 500 baseball in that division, so with about a month to go, they're in real good shape, to say the least, to make the playoffs. Tampa Bay and Boston, what kind of scheduling is this? Tampa just played in Boston, well, right before the All-Star break, and, you know, when Joe Madden was in town here in late June, so they are playing 3 series in Fenway Park in a little bit over a month. That's just crazy scheduling, but there's a lot on the line. Half a game separates these teams in the American League East. St. Louis is at Pittsburgh. Pirates have not been home since before the All-Star break, and the Mets, they go to Miami. The Yankees are off. They're on their way to the West Coast again. Crazy scheduling. They played 3 games in Texas, came home, the homestand 3 games, and now they go out to the far west coast to take on the Dodgers and the Padres. And yesterday, Randy Newman took the checkered flag at the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and so that now sets it up. We're less than a week away. They're coming back to Pocono for the second and final time this summer, once in June, once in early August, and see how Randy Newman and the boys do when they head up here to the Tricky Triangle. The GoBowling.com 400 is the sponsor of the race this year. So they won't be doing a lot of bowling, but they're going to be doing a lot of racing. A lot of you fans want to get up there to see the trials and the practice, and then the big event coming up on Sunday. Tonight's sports is brought to you by Mountain Speedway. Here's a look at this weekend's action. It's going to be busy. The racing will begin at 6, so plenty of action this Saturday. Just $10 for grandstand admission. Kids under 10 are free, and if you're active military or a senior, you get a $2 discount. There's the website and the phone numbers. You could call them and get all the information on the excitement of racing down at Mountain Speedway.
Will you believe that yesterday was the last Sunday this year without football? Starting next Sunday, there will be baseball and football. Hi, everybody. On the last Monday of the month, this is Trivia Treats. And speaking of yesterday, 20 years ago in 1993, Reggie Lewis, a 27-year-old forward with the Boston Celtics, died of cardiac arrest at a Waltham, Massachusetts hospital. He had collapsed while shooting baskets at the team's training center in Brandeis University. Lewis had averaged 21 points per game for the Celtics during the 1992-93 season, and he played in the 92-93 NBA All-Star Game. On the day after Lewis died, on this day in 1993, Mariners outfielder Ken Griffey Jr. tied a Major League record by homering in his 8th consecutive game at the Kingdome in Seattle. Also on this day in 2003, exactly 10 years ago, Red Sox third baseman Bill Mueller became the first player in Major League history to hit grand slams from both sides of the plate in a single game during a 14-7 win over the Texas Rangers at the ballpark in Arlington. Mueller hit 3 home runs and drove in 9 runs in that game. 30 years ago today, July 29th, 1983, San Diego first baseman Steve Garvey, who dislocated his thumb in the first game of a doubleheader, sat out the nightcap, ending his National League record consecutive games played streak at 1,207. Finally, 30 years ago at this time, in 1983, New York Yankees center fielder Dave Winfield was arrested for cruelty to animals. Winfield's problems began when he threw a warm-up ball to a ball boy near the Yankee bullpen during a game. The ball skipped on the artificial surface and hit a snoozing seagull on the head, killing it instantly. Seagulls are frequent visitors to Exhibition Stadium, which is located near the edge of Lake Ontario. The ball boy returned with a towel to remove the dead bird, and Winfield stood with his cap over his heart, obviously not realizing that the seagull is on Canada's endangered species list. Fans in the outfield stands began tossing debris and obscenities at the 6-foot slugger. When the game ended, Winfield was arrested and charged with a crime punishable up to a $500 fine and 6 months in jail. Winfield posted a $500 bond. However, a few days later, the Crown Attorney decided to have the charges dropped after talking with Winfield and determining that the bird's death was accidental. Mother of God! Of course! Till Friday. Stay loose.
One very famous 80s star hit the streets of Hazleton this morning to promote FunFest's Totally 80s Weekend.
I am the voice of Night Industry 2000's microprocessor, KITT for easy reference, a KIT if you prefer.
There you go. A replica of Kit the car from the 1980s TV show Knight Rider stopped by the Chamber of Commerce this morning in Hazleton. The replica of the 1982 Trans Am from the 80s TV series, also starring David Hasselhoff, is scheduled to be on display FunFest weekend as part of the Chamber's Totally 80s Weekend.
When people see this car and the way that it's got all the bells and whistles, it's got the voice and everything, I think it's going to be a big attraction. He is scheduled to be here both days of Fun Fest, Saturday and Sunday, weather permitting. So I think it's going to be a great, great attraction for Fun Fest. Our parade theme is 80s. Some of our balloons that are going to be featured in the parade are 80s balloons like Rainbow Bright and a Space Invaders game and things like that, things that really make people think about the 80s. We have some other activities and events that are going to happen during the weekend, 80s trivia contests, things like that. So we're going to carry that over throughout the weekend.
And Snyder and Clement will be sponsoring the car's appearance. Pretty cool. Plenty more news and information headed your way on News 13. One local man was robbed at knife point and left for dead. Now Minersville police are searching for suspects in the attempted homicide case. That story and much more news when the 13 crew comes right back.